Director Stark has landed on Flight Deck Alpha. Visual confirmation. Confirmed. Director on deck! The Director has arrived on basement sub-level 7.
Boys?
Sir.
Is he in there?
Yes, sir.
Any trouble?
No, sir.
Guess that's good.
Yes, sir.
Armor. Sesta Dramaconsi. Cut Global Information System.
Global Information System holding.
And there you are. Can you feel it out there? These kids. They'll salute and follow orders, but you can feel it. They're Nick Fury's kids. They don't like me here, and they don't want me here. They want their daddy back, and that's that. Guess they'll have to learn to love me. I mean, you did. It's my fault. I made a terrible speech to the command crew. I was trying to make a point, and I told them about King Pyrrhus of Epirus. You know who he is, right? You probably know who he is. He defeated the Romans during the Pyrrhic War at Heraclea, and again at this place called Asculum. And that war went on forever and ever, and the casualties were devastating. Bodies from both sides lying as far as the eye could see. His friends were all dead. His commanders were all dead. Those who were still alive started high-fiving each other over the victory, but King Pyrrhus just stood there and said, one more such victory would utterly undo me. Meaning that, well, you know what it means. It means there's winning and there's winning, and sometimes winning doesn't feel like winning. It almost feels like losing. Or we might as well have lost if this is what it costs. I said this to my new command because I wanted them to know how this felt to me. And they looked at me like I took a dump in their breakfast bowls. I was trying to say I wanted them to know that I knew the reality of this. I knew how everyone was feeling, but it just came off like I was criticizing them for their effort. There's a way to speak to soldiers, to rally them, and I don't have that. I don't have it. Okay, listen. That's not what I came here to tell you. I came to tell you why all this happened. You asked me, and I'm going to tell you. It was because of King Arthur. Okay. So, a couple of years ago, Dr. Doom and I had a rather hostile run-in that ended up with the both of us, as only can happen to us, being accidentally transported back in time to King Arthur's England. I met King Arthur. Me, who based the entire theme of Iron Man on an archetype he perfected. I met King Arthur! We've all met people we admire, and sometimes meeting them is gargantually disappointing, but not this time. I met the greatest leader of men. But I kept my cool, and so did he. I mean, not that it was so exciting for him to meet me, but clearly he was scared to death of me and what he probably saw as my devil armor. And while I'm bonding with Arthur, Dr. Doom is out there somewhere bonding with Morgan Le Fay of the evil fucking bitches Le Fay, and they start a zombie war. Of course, right? It's Doom! Why take this miracle of an opportunity to go sightseeing or on some sort of sociological expedition in a time long lost when you can start a zombie war? But, really, at my most selfish, I thank him for it. Because the only thing greater than meeting King Arthur was fighting alongside him. And there we were, in the mud, in the muck, with the stench of death and the sound of victory cries, and that's when I saw it. I saw it, as clear as day. I saw us at war. It had never occurred to me before that very moment. But right then, I knew we were going to war. We're warriors after all, with weapons and ideals and things to fight for, things worth dying for. It's who we are. It's our defining characteristic. We fight. The Avengers avenge, X-Men defend, the Fantastic Four explore, but we all fight. At first, I thought we'd be fighting a war against evil, but that's just that holier-than-thou attitude that we're always the good guys and all we fight is bad guys. But in a war, there are no good guys. There are no bad guys. There's only opposing forces. A war was coming, and I saw us fighting each other. I saw the war. I knew it would happen. I've told you, this is what I do. I'm an inventor. I can envision the future. I can see what the world will look like, and I can see what the world will need to make that future worth living for. I see what we will need, and I invent the thing that will help us get there. That's how I invented my armor. That's how the Avengers were born. That's how every idea I've ever had in the world has come to be. I invent a solution. I knew there would be a war of heroes. I knew it. So what's the solution to that? I didn't know what the war was going to be about or when it was coming, but I knew I'd know it when I saw it. I tried to get everyone gathered, to make a place where we could all govern each other. I tried to stop this war before it even got started, before I even knew it was coming, but I couldn't do it. All I got back was compromise and half-trust, and I knew my fears were real, even though no one would believe me. I know how it sounds. I knew confessing it to anyone, including you, would be met with a friendly laugh and just condescension. So I kept it to myself. So I went about my life. For years, I waited for the first sign, but nothing. Just our usual crazy. Then I started to see a shift. Not in us as heroes or avengers, but in the way people reacted to us. They started taking us for granted. They started seeing us as familiar. They started relying on us to help them instead of hoping we would. They didn't know they were doing it, but they were. They were taking it all for granted. And with familiarity, contempt. This is, and always will be, a society that builds people up to tear them down. Nothing new there. All that is fine and good, but for all my predicting, the future, and knowing and feeling the mood in the air, I didn't see it coming. But I knew this was it. This. I knew what it meant. I knew it would pass. I knew exactly who would fall on what side of the issue. Except for Peter. Peter, he surprised me. I knew my feelings. I knew your feelings. I knew this was it. I knew we were one dumb slip away from this bill passing and sides being taken. One of us was going to give them an excuse to pass this bill, and that would be it. I told you. I told anyone who would listen. We had to work within the system. We had to work with the leaders that the people of this country voted to represent them. To not do this is arrogance. Criminal arrogance. I told you that. I knew that you would force me. No, that's wrong. You didn't force me. But I knew that I would be put in the position of taking charge of this side of things. Because if not me, who? Who else was there? No one. So I sucked it up. I did what you do. I committed. Because if this wasn't handled with full commitment, thousands of people could die. Innocent people. I knew what I had to do. The good news is, through all of this, I never took a drink. And if I didn't drink during this, I'm probably never going to. So there's that. To do what I needed to do to win this quickly. I knew that meant you and I probably never speak again. Or be friends again. Or partners again. I told myself I was okay with it because I knew I was right. And I knew it was saving lives. It was the right thing to do. And I was willing to get in bed with people we despise to get this done. And I knew the world favors the underdog and that I would be the bad guy. I knew this and I said it was okay. And even though I said I was willing to go all the way with it, I wasn't. And I know this because the worst has happened. The thing I can't live with has happened. And for all our back and forth, and all the things we've said and done to each other, for all the hard questions I've had to ask and terrible lies I've had to tell, there's one thing that I'll never be able to tell anyone now. Not my friends, or my coworkers, or my president. The one thing I should have told you, but now I can't. It wasn't worth it. It was never worth it.